Good morning and welcome to Money Wisdom, sponsored by Johnson Brunetti. I'm Natasha Lubchenko. We're teaching you smart ways to manage your money, and here with expert advice is Eric Hogarth, certified financial planner and Johnson Brunetti partner. Eric, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course.
You say retirement planning is changing, and there are some things we should be aware of. Let's talk about it. First change, you say that population older than 65 is growing much quicker than younger than 65. What does this all mean, and why is it important?
People live longer, right? You start hearing about, you know, there's going to be this whole group of people, hopefully, that spend more years retired than they did working. But your money needs to last a heck of a lot longer. Like, you think back, maybe you don't think back, I think back to the beginning of Social Security. The earliest you could start Social Security when it began was 65 years old. But if you were born that year, statistically, you were supposed to live to 64. So you're not even supposed to make it now. You can start it at 62 and you're supposed to live to be old. So, you know, you've got to make sure that your retirement money and plan is going to last as long as you do.
Right. Definitely not a bad thing that we're living longer, which leads us actually to our next point. You say people are living longer. So how do we plan differently for this?
So we think about, you know, people ask the question about healthcare. What is healthcare going to cost when I'm 65? No one asks the question of, you know, can I retire and stay retired for 2 years, but can I retire and stay retired for 15, for 20, for 25? And, you know, with advances in home care and medicine and all that stuff that's great in helping people live longer. Again, you need your retirement plan. You know, we're not talking 70 years old or even 80 years old. And if there's two of you, we have to plan even longer.
All right, so this next change here, adults are working past retirement age. Why do we need to account for this?
You know, people fall into two categories. This is it. You have enough money to retire? You don't.
Right.
Like, if you could boil down financial planning to one thing, just know the answer to that question, and that puts you on a good path. Because if you don't have enough to retire, you don't have enough to retire the way you want to retire. Maybe you keep working. Also, there's a lot of people that like to work. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do when I retire, and it's different if you're working, you know, so you can live a little bit differently than working because you have to work.
All right, so that's important to consider.
Yeah.
And final change here is that traditional pensions are disappearing.
Yeah, so this is, articles get written about this. People say these things and I think terrify people when they shouldn't. Is that, you know, are you sure your pension is going to be there? If you have a pension, no one's going to flip a light switch and it's just going to stop someday. But if you are a younger person and you're planning for retirement, you're probably not going to have a pension. Anything that you've already earned or saved into is probably going to be there. But the reality of the day is, like, my mom's a retired school teacher, my dad's retired from the city of Meriden. Those pensions are not as common. And if people do have them, they're not as significant. So you certainly have to save money because you're going to need more. Just like Social Security, you're going to need more.
Okay, now retirement planning is obviously a huge topic, lots to know, and you have a special offer for our viewers today, so tell us about it.
Yes, I do. It's a book, talks specifically about retirement. It's called The Changing Story of Retirement, and it gets, you know, and I say this a lot, I mean, the best plans are made before you actually need it, right? So to be looking at this stuff while you're still working so that you're not surprised when you retire and you're like, oh, that's how much healthcare costs, or, you know, all of those things. So I encourage people to read it. You can get it at www.moneywisdomtv.com. It's a great thing to read. It's free. Changing Story of Retirement. Be prepared. All
right, Eric Hogarth from Johnson Brunetti, as always, thank you. And of course, that website one more time, moneywisdomtv.com. I'm Natasha Lubchenko with your CT Style Express. We'll see you next time.